So we were very pleased to have Kate Gentry agree to talk to us today about what's going on with the schools and how they will be gearing up this year. I appreciate you agreeing to keep us updated on that, Kate. And now we will turn it over to you to let us know about where the schools are standing.
Well, thanks so much. It's nice to be with Rotary on this Wednesday lunchtime. I'm usually with 114 other superintendents and the state superintendent and the state board and sometimes the governor, and y'all are a much more pleasant group at this point. So I'm thankful that I got a little reprise from that and got to see all of you and be at this meeting today. I'm going to spend probably about 10 minutes, just some updates and things we know as of 12:30 on August the 4th, 5th. I don't even know what day it is, but and with the caveat that I mean, things changed last week, things will probably change next week. So our last March 13th, Friday the 13th, March 2020, was our last kind of normal day as school as we have known it, as we have been doing school. Probably doesn't look too dissimilar from school that you knew it. After our 2-week initial closure, when we knew this was going to be long term, we started thinking about what coming back to school and reopening school and re-entering school was going to look like. I can tell you that probably by the time we got to May, we started thinking it was going to be a little more significant, and have been awaiting, lots of guidance and things like that at that point. This has definitely been a plane we've been building as we've been flying it. There's a lot of guidebooks for the things we do as far as how do we be a good teacher, how do we schedule students, how do we do those kind of things that schools do. Definitely no guidebook for school during a global pandemic. And something that's kind of been a continual frustration, but something we've kind of learned to live in a world of guidance that is either lacking or is conflicting, hearing one thing from one set of experts and another thing from another set of experts. So given all that, we started to kind of end the 1920 school year in a remote format, and really started thinking about the coming year. What would that look like? Our first set of guidance came in the fact that we would have 3 plans and that we would open under one of 3 plans. Plan A would be not quite business as usual, but as close to business as usual as we could get, with all of our students coming back, daily temperature checks, social distancing, and all of the
No, I just stopped hearing Kate. Is everybody else still hearing her? No, Kate, Kate, I'm sorry. She may not be able to hear me either. Anybody? I'm not sure I have Kate's number to text her. Kate, can you hear me?
better.
There we go. That's got it, Kate.
Okay. What was the last thing you heard me say?
You were talking about Plan A.
Yes. Okay.
You're right.
Okay.
Plan A.
Okay. So Plan A, I think I said, was the most, closest to business as usual, with a lot of things that we would have to add. We'd be taking temperatures every day, screening children every day, social distancing, things of that nature. Plan B is a really half and half plan, half of our students in the building, the other half doing learning remotely, and they would kind of rotate A day, B day, or A week, B week. And Plan C, fully remote. So we started working through what life in Thomasville City Schools would look like under each of those plans. A few weeks ago, I think just 2 weeks ago, the governor said we had the option to open in Plan B. Local districts could be more restrictive and go to Plan C. And within that, all districts had to make sure there was a fully remote option available, regardless of the plan that they were entering in and would go to throughout the 2021 school year. So thankfully, we had already started thinking about a fully remote option because we know that we had a large portion of our parents who have been concerned about coming back at all. We have a large portion of our parents who are very concerned about not coming back face to face. So our board did decide that we would start the year remotely under Plan C, that we would reconvene after reviewing the data we have available from the state and local health departments to make decisions around Labor Day, whether we would continue Plan C into September or we would start phasing in Plan B. So that's where we are now, is knowing that August 17th, all of our students are going to come back remotely, with the hope that as we move into September, we can start phasing in students face to face, and that's going to be guided by the information we get from the state health department and our local Davidson County Health Department. Some things we've done, like I said, we knew from the beginning we wanted to have a completely online option for the entire school year because we knew there was a pretty significant demand from our parents to do that. So we have started the TRAIL program. TRAIL stands for Thomasville Remote Academy of Innovative Learning. The students in the TRAIL program will be Trailblazers. We finished our first round of applications for that program last Friday. We have 330 students who have committed to at least a semester of fully online learning. Regardless of the district plan, we will have that option to be fully online for some of our students because we know we want to keep our Bulldogs as Bulldogs, and we know that there are numerous remote opportunities. So if we didn't provide them, they were going to get them somewhere else. So starting August 17th, all of our students will be remote, both the TRAIL students who have opted into that fully remote option for the long term and our students who are following the district plan, who we hope to move into Plan B and then Plan A based on what our community health is looking like. We know that more than half the public schools and public charter schools have chosen to start the year Plan C. We know that both Lexington and Davidson County are starting the year Plan C, where we've all got some benchmarks around Labor Day to see if we need to continue C or if we can move to B. In addition, one of the things we were able to do last week was secure a company contract with a company called SRS. They're actually one of the groups, the main group, working with a lot of the professional athletic organizations to develop their protocols and make sure their facilities are up to par. Back? Yes? No?
Yes. Yeah, now you're back. So you were just mentioning SRS.
Better? Yes? Okay. They have already been, SRS Global has already been in all of our buildings. They have certified all of our buildings, deep cleaned all of our buildings, provided some really high-grade sanitation and disinfecting to all of our buildings, and are helping us upgrade our protocols so they're even more than what the CDC is requiring for schools. So that's been great, and I think that's a layer of protection we're going to be able to provide as our faculty comes back next week, and as our students. Again, our goal is to get the students back as safely first, and then as quickly second as possible. So that's been something, we've been working through, a lot of technology needs. I know people have seen that our schools have been getting both state and federal level CARES money. A lot of that money has been specifically designated for things like masks for all of our students and staff, higher grade PPE for our school nurses, and other support personnel who are going to be more kind of frontline and would be working with students who maybe their temperature's too high to have a full day in school, or maybe they get sick while they're in the building, or they don't pass the screening. And then another portion of that money's been devoted to really getting additional technology needs. We were very grateful that we kind of went ahead and did a technology grant with T-Mobile last year, so that all of our students in grades 6 through 12 had one-to-one access and hotspots. We were able to, after the first 2 weeks of closure, we were able to get any of our 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders who expressed a need. We were able to fulfill that need for our 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. We made an order May 1st. That order is about 350 computers that are sitting with 3 million other computers at Hewlett Packard on back order. Those Chromebooks are in high demand right now, so I'm glad. Hopefully we'll get them soon, since we ordered them May 1st. I hate that a lot of folks probably didn't order them until July 1st, so I don't know when they're going to get theirs, but those are currently still in that backlog of 3 million computers that have yet to ship. So we will be working for another round of distribution to our elementary students. Trying to think, I tried to make some notes about all to say. I know there's several people on this who are very probably interested in Thomasville Bulldogs football. What I can tell you right now is the North Carolina High School Athletic Association has allowed small group conditioning. So our students have been able to come back in small. How about now?
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
So Kate, I am so glad you chose to give us a demonstration on technology issues in education. Oh, yeah, you were just starting into small groups and able to do conditioning.
Yeah. So I think, our kids have not, a lot of people think they're playing football. They're not playing football. They're doing workouts and trying to get back in shape. Small groups, doing a lot, like I know the Y's been doing kind of small group exercise classes outside to kind of keep people involved in their workouts. This is a lot what we're doing for some of our student athletes. They have a phase 2 for the High School Athletic Association that started Monday. We are waiting to hear, much like I think the rest of the state is, from the governor to see where we're headed. If we're going to remain in phase 2 or move to phase 3, or even just, I know we haven't even fully implemented phase 2 yet. So we do not think we can open up athletics anymore if basically we're being more restrictive as a state. We know we can't do any competitions prior to September 1st, so that knocks out the first 2 home games for football students and several contests for other fall athletes. We know the High School Athletic Association is meeting next week, I believe. Their board is going to probably make some decisions. If you're following the news, Virginia and Maryland have already kind of moved their fall sports to the spring, particularly football and soccer and lacrosse and those types of sports. They have gone ahead and moved those to the spring. I am not sure if that's what we're going to do in North Carolina, but I think that is a potential option. So our teachers are coming back next week. We've made a lot of accommodations for folks who are teachers who have needs for those accommodations. They will be working from their classrooms and teaching from their classrooms, because we think it's really important for them to have the support and the technology they need to do that. So that will be starting, they come back starting next Tuesday, the 11th. And we've really tried to work with our parents to let them know that last spring was an emergency. We, in 2 days, completely changed everything we were used to doing for the past 20 years. We've taken a lot of time this summer to really set up good schedules for our students, to really work with our teachers on some best practices for remote instruction, not just kind of crisis teaching, which is what we did in the spring, but real remote instruction. So new material, engaging students online, grades, attendance, all of that stuff wasn't there in the spring, but that is something that'll be there now. And just like I said, our goal, and I think everybody's goal, is to get the kids back in the safest environment and as quickly as we can do that. So like I told them at the beginning, I think I'm much better answering any of your questions about this than I am talking about it, because I mean, it's all I talk about all day, so I kind of forget what people know and what they don't know. So I'm happy to answer any questions. Remember, I do serve at the pleasure of the Thomasville City Schools Board of Education. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Kate. And anybody who has questions, if you will unmute yourself, I know Kate will be glad to answer your questions.
Hey, Kate, this is Mary Jane. I know that there were some at the high school that were interested in being remote no matter what. They just felt like that was something. Is that something that you all are considering, is allowing the high school to remain remote learning?
So we've created a program, K-12. It's called the TRAIL program, Thomasville Remote Academy of Innovative Learning, and that is for any student K-12 who wants to be remote, no matter what. Those folks have to kind of commit to the first semester, but we will offer it for the whole year. So that's an option, K through 12, for those students who, regardless of what plan we move to as a district, when we move out of remote learning and get into that hybrid Plan B model, if those folks choose, some have already made that choice and commitment, because the first round of those applications ended last Friday. So yeah, that is the fully remote option, regardless of the district plan, is available, and will be available for the entire school year. And that's something that is an expectation for every district in the state.
I have a question. What about the parents who can not afford not to work? What are they to do with their children?
Well, I mean, that's the question, right? And I'm going to tell you, I don't have a good answer. I don't have an answer to that question. I will tell you, we are working, and I actually have a meeting with several local pastors tomorrow, to see if there are options for them to open their doors to small groups that could be supervised. We are continuing to work with some of our larger employers, to see if there are options to work with parents who work for them and their schedules. You know, that we know that's a concern. We know that's a concern for our employees. That's frankly a concern for me, because my child will start remotely, and I will be in my office. So I don't have a good answer for that. I don't think anybody has a good answer for that. We are reaching out to employers who we know employ a lot of our folks, and civic and faith organizations, that if they have the capacity to support small groups and open up daycare type settings, or if there are daycares, we know several of our daycares have additional spaces. I know that's a concern and a frustration for us as well. And I just do not have a good answer for that.
So Kate, it's David here. So normally you've got your kind of, and I guess everybody does kind of a convocation, welcoming teachers back. I've seen some places that do that, like Calvary Baptist, but any plans for kind of, gatherings or things like that, or ways to communicate with teachers or that sort of thing as they come back?
So our convocation is going to be completely virtual. But we are, if you are interested in getting materials to teachers, and I think Jane usually comes by with stuff from the hospital for teachers, we will get that to them. It's just everything as we get started is going to be in a virtual.
Oh,
She's broke up again.
I think it's Kim Cecil's fault, because as soon as Kate cut out, Kim started making sounds.
Of course it is.
no.
She's still talking, so evidently that's not working, David Snappy. Hear you, Kate.
Okay, try it again, Kate.
We can't hear you.
It is what it is.
This is as loud as I get.
Bless you, Jenny.
Kate's just a talking.
Okay, well, that was, I'm glad we got the chance to hear Kate and very much appreciate her sharing with us.
Am I back? Is that,
You're
I'm
back
sorry.
now. Yes.
Okay.
I have a question for you, Kate. Right now, tell us how the feeding is going right now for what Thomasville City's doing. And if they go remote, how's that going to work? And if half of them go to remote to different churches and daycares, is the daycare and church going to be responsible for feeding them, or how's all that going to work?
So since March 16th, and then the Monday after that, we basically dropped off meals all over town. Our child nutrition folks and our bus drivers dropped off meals all over town. Then we have gone to a weekly pickup. So every Monday from 8 a.m. to 4 a.m., there is a pickup at Thomasville Primary. I can tell you, and I don't know all the logistics, but I know that on Monday, we surpassed 3 million meals. So we are not only feeding the 2,383 students who attend the Thomasville City Schools, we're feeding their brothers and sisters and potentially their cousins from every surrounding county, because we're averaging around 11,000 meal packets going home. So every Monday, they pick up 6 breakfasts, 6 lunch, and 5 suppers from Thomasville Primary from 8 to 4. We will be doing that setup as long as we are in Plan C. When we move to Plan B, there will be a weekly pickup for suppers and breakfasts. And then off-week students will also get their 5 lunches. On-week students will get their lunches during the school day. And then when we move back to Plan A, the feeding will be, I guess, as close to normal as it can get during this time. So did you all catch any of that?
Yes, we got it all.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I will say, look, we're going to get devices for all of our students at some point. But I'm sitting here not far from my office. And this is something we've talked to our commissioners about. The infrastructure outside of the city of Thomasville, as you get into the county, is the Wi-Fi access is spotty at best once you get into the county. And I know several of you probably live in the county. My address is in the county, and it is, it's a struggle. So even when devices come, getting the infrastructure to have the Wi-Fi access is a community issue, I think, not just a school issue.
Kate, I mean, I know you made a lot of points today, things that I would never even consider. I don't have a school-age child right now. And so you definitely, a lot of challenges you guys are facing that most of us, probably were not even aware of. So appreciate very much you being with us. Jenny, did I see you raise your hand?
Yeah. I just want to say, and I've wanted to say this to every educator I've ever known in my life, but you happen to be the one that's with us right now. I just want to say on behalf, I am amazed at the work that occurred in a short span of time and in a territory that had never been blazed back in March, that I was amazed at how fast the turnaround was. I continue to be amazed and absolutely appreciative of every educator in this state who has stepped up to the plate and shown great commitment. And I want my hats off to you and to all of your staff, not just the educators, but the food services people and the janitorial and the cleaning people. Everybody has had to go way above what we ever thought would be needed. So, Kate, my prayers have been with you and continue to be with all of you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for those comments. Absolutely. Okay.
Hope.
Yes.
Kate, if I miss it, I apologize, but I'm amazed that every student has a computer, or you guys have made sure they were sent a computer. Is that correct?
So we're still lacking in kindergarten, first and second grade, but we are. I would say we're mostly there 3rd through 12th grade. 6th through 12, yes, they have a grant that we've had for over a year now, completely covered grades 6 through 12. We were able to fill requests last spring for 3, 4, and 5, and we filled some additional requests this summer, so we feel good about 3, 4, 5. We hope to get kindergarten 1 and 2, but like I said, we're part of 3 million computers sitting on a loading dock somewhere in the world. So we're waiting on those to get here.
Yeah, great job.
And that'll get, I don't know that it'll cover all of K1 and 2, but I think it will cover the folks who have expressed a need in K1 and 2. So the folks who don't have those home options. And we just hope those get here sooner rather than later.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'll say, I think if you talk to a teacher anywhere, this is not what anybody wants. This is not what we know to do best. I think our teachers are much better remote teachers than they were in the spring. And they're going to be better in September than they were in August. We all want our kids back. And this is hard on we know this is hard on parents who have to work. As soon as we can find solutions for them and work with other groups to help find solutions for them, we're doing that. It's not a good situation for anybody, and unfortunately, it's also an ever-changing situation. So, 2 weeks from now, I may have a completely different story to tell you, depending on where we're going with the virus and things of that nature.
And that's a very good point, Kate. Please keep in mind that we may need to get an update from you, in the coming weeks, so that, your Rotary community understands, what you're going through with the schools, and finding out if there's, places we can plug in to help out. So again, thank you so much for sharing with us today. I'll also say again,